Begin with something that's happening live as we speak. Decades after the mysterious assassination of a former Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme, Sweden is presenting an update on this unsolved murder as we speak. Palme was shot dead 34 years ago in downtown Stockholm. Let's now take it across to the Swedish prosecutor's conclusion on Prime Minister Palme's murder.
This is ongoing still, actually, as we speak, and it's only fairly recently that we've been able to read different documents on screen. Up until now, we've always had to read paper documents. And this is a huge improvement that we can read documents on screen instead. And the investigation contains over 22,430 different entries. And I'm saying entries here, and I know that many people in the media use the word track or lead. And to lead, to me, that's fingerprint, or it might be a footprint or something like that. I'm going to say the Swedish word uppslag, which is the word that we've used for something that is akin to a lead. And a lead might be, or one of these entries, or what we're going to call them, might be an A4 sheet, or it might be so many documents that it corresponds to a normal murder investigation. So these entries or these items, they vary to a large extent. About 90,000 people have been part of the investigation, and also there are 40,000 people who are mentioned sort of on the periphery. And interviews have been held with over 10,000 people, and many of these have in fact been heard several times. And I think the person who's been heard most is a man called Sigge Cedergren. He was a well-known owner of a club, and also he was a drug dealer, and he was part of this group. He's been heard, in fact, 43 times in all. And there are about just over 4,000 vehicles included in this investigation, 134 people who have confessed to the assassination, and of these, 29 have confessed directly to the police, and the others have confessed to another person who in turn has then contacted us and told us about it. Now, if we look at the issue of the weapon, this is of course a central, interesting part of the investigation. Now, 2 bullets were found on the road Sveavägen after the assassination. First, on the 1st of March, on the western part of Sveavägen, and this was a bullet which probably was the one that hurt and injured Lisbeth Palme. And the second bullet was found on the 2nd of March. This was the bullet that killed the...
That's the Swedish prosecutor with the findings into the investigation of the assassination of former Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme. Shifting focus away from that to the United States of America, where thousands of people attended the funeral of George Floyd in the southern U.S. city of Houston in the state of Texas. In North Carolina, Minneapolis, and many other cities across the country, there were memorial services held for Floyd, which demanded justice for him and his family. Hundreds of people bid their final goodbye to George Floyd at the Fountain of Praise Church in Houston. The memorial service for Floyd has become a symbol of the United States' reckoning with racial injustice. Over 6,000 people either stood in silence or knelt down praying as Floyd's body, dressed in a brown suit, was laid open in a golden-colored casket. As per the family's wishes, Floyd was finally laid to rest next to his mother. Brothers of George Floyd, Philanice and Terrence Floyd, also spoke about their brother after the service and said how much the family was hurting due to George's death.
Because I wanted to be able to breathe.
And I tell you what, if he was told he would have to sacrifice his life to bring the world together, and I knowing he would have did it.
Wow.
And I mean, I love this love, and we all hurting as a family.
Brooke Williams, the niece of George Floyd, also spoke at her uncle's funeral. She said the laws were designed to disadvantage black people.
These laws need to be changed. No more hate crimes, please. Someone said make America great again, but when has America ever been great?
U.S. presidential candidate from the Democratic Party and former Vice President Joe Biden attended George Floyd's funeral and spoke on the need to end racial injustice in the U.S. Addressing the funeral via video conference, Biden not just consoled the family and the 6-year-old daughter of George Floyd, but convinced the protesters to not lose hope in this fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to deal with the denial of the promise of this nation to so many people for so long. It's about who we are, what we believe, and maybe most importantly, who we want to be, to ensure that all men and women are not only created equal, but are treated equally.
Hollywood actor Jamie Foxx and civil rights leader Reverend Al Sharpton were among the few celebrities who attended George Floyd's funeral. Jamie Foxx, who has been vocal about racial injustice, has been a participant in the Black Lives Matter protests over the past 2 weeks. Speaking alongside him was Reverend Al Sharpton, who said that Donald Trump was trying to stop the demonstrations rather than police brutality.
Until the law is upheld and people know they will go to jail, they're going to keep doing it because they're protected by wickedness in high places.